everyone. You are now watching Talk with SHONNA right here on the Fired Up Network, Female Empowerment Movement. So welcome to this episode. We have a special guest here on the show today. His name is Lorne Houndsell, and he is a Toronto-based producer and engineer. He owns and runs his own studio called Central Audio and has a wealth of experience working with a wide range of artists, from hip-hop to folk, reggae to funk, from metal to easy listening. Lorne has done it all. So it's a very special day to have him on the show. Thanks for coming on the show today, Lorne. It's absolutely awesome to meet you.
Oh, you're welcome, Shauna.
Awesome. How are you doing today?
I'm great.
Yeah. That's good. It's always good to hear that my guests are great. Seems like the weather's been all over the place lately, but hopefully we'll have some of the sunnier weather to stay.
I know, no sunshine, right?
No, we had a couple days there. It was such a tease. Such a tease. Okay, well, my first question is this. I would like to get to know you a little bit more. And of course, my listeners and viewers would like to know you as well. So first of all, where are you from originally and where are you living now?
Well, I grew up in Newfoundland, actually, Pasadena, small town, like 2,500 people, I guess. And I've been here since 1999, I've been living in Toronto.
So you are an East Coaster. I love that.
Totally.
I am from Nova Scotia originally, so you've got to love the East Coast.
Yeah,
big fan. So that's really cool. I think we are definitely going to get along. I have a good feeling here. Yeah. So and so now you're living here in Toronto, I'm assuming.
Yeah. I've been here since I guess 23 years now.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad that you're here. So my second question is this. Has music and engineering always been a passion of yours?
Pretty much from a young age. I grew up I guess we had a stereo at home, and my mom's brothers and sisters all had stereos and record collections and reel-to-reels. And music's always been in the family. Like my uncles played guitar, and my mom played organ in church. My grandmother played organ in the church. And so music has always been in the family, yeah, pretty much from a young age. But I didn't think I'd make a career out of it because growing up in Newfoundland, everything seemed so magical and far away. Like everything was in a magazine at the time,
Yeah, I can relate to that.
Right.
It's cool though. I think in a way, almost being from the East Coast almost makes you a little bit more creative because you're far away from all those things that are happening. Would you agree?
Yeah. Distractions back then either, really. It was like there was no internet and so you always had to find your own niche. So you're always going over oh, that guy plays guitar, so we got to hang out with that guy. You know what I mean? And his dad played guitar, like the Walshes growing up, right? And Farron played guitar, and I learned from him. And his dad played, so it was always every social event. It seemed like if you went out, to hang out, it was like you passed acoustic guitar around, played songs and stuff, right? That's the way it was.
Very cool.
There were 3 songs to play, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I have a lot of memories of that too. A lot of the same ideas, passing around the fire, hanging out with guitars.
That's how, yeah, you got to play 2 or 3 songs so that and then 8 or 9 guys and played acoustic guitar, right? So you didn't have to play all night or anything. So it was easy.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, that's how I learned guitar, was just being around people that played, and I get them to, teach me a chord here, a chord there. So yeah, I can relate to that. And it was a great scene, and I'm sure it still is.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's very cool. Well, what inspired you to get into this profession? I mean, I know you said a lot happened back home with you.
I guess a friend of mine, Joe Dunphy, who I grew up with, he moved here. He owns Revolution Recording now with Jor Cavallo and Kim Cook, and he started doing live sound and making records and stuff. And then I was like, oh, I kind of want to do that too, right? So then I went to Oyart in 1995, I guess it was, in London, Ontario, and studied recording engineering.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I was going to say, I mean, I've looked at your bio, you've done a lot of great things. So I'm assuming you have some schooling there. I assume so much. I just wasn't sure what it was. Very cool.
I studied guitar in Atlanta, at Atlanta Institute of Music. That was in 1991, I think it was. But I didn't pursue it full degree or anything like that, right? And then so I went to Oyart, and then after that, I went back to Newfoundland. We opened a studio in Corner Brook with Rob Gillard, Big Bully Productions. And
Mm.
I don't like Newfie projects, or Newfoundland, I should say. Sorry.
That's okay. I understand. I get
But
it.
I consider myself a Newf. Um, and then I was just like, well, I don't know, I kind of want to like move to Toronto and see if I can make it happen, right? And I hooked a job at DB Audio within 3 days here through Joe. I worked there for a year with Dave Boir doing TV commercials and jingles and all that kind of work.
Very
And then
cool.
I work at Umbrella Sound, it was, with Joe Cavallo, who's a great mastering engineer here in Toronto. And everything just kind of snowballed from there. I produced Cuff to Duke record at that place in 2000. And then worked on Chaos Records, Crabs in the Bucket and all that. And
I
Rascal.
Yeah, I just saw that about Chaos. I had no idea. I was reading that
Yeah.
today, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's an amazing. I love that song, by the way. Great
Yeah.
song.
Oh, it was all
Yeah.
kind of fresh, and no one was like, oh, this is a hit or whatever, right? It was like, then it comes out, it's on the radio and stuff, and you're like, oh, that's cool, right? Like, and Greg O'Shea he was doing most of the work, and when Greg wasn't around, I'd fill in for him on the Chaos sessions. And yeah, it was, I don't know, when you're in the situation, you're not thinking about it, you're just working at it. And
Absolutely.
yeah.
Cool. And so, yeah, so you got a gig 3 days in from getting here. So that's amazing.
Yeah, fresh off the rock. I was actually away to my sister's in Vancouver, and I just stopped in. I was like, wow, I'm going to stay in Toronto. I never did make it to Vancouver.
You didn't make it there. You're like, okay, I'm going to stay here.
Yeah. Nowadays, right? But
Yeah. That worked out well.
Yeah.
Worked out really well. Yeah. Okay. Well, you mentioned a few of the people you've worked with. So what are some of the band's artists that you've worked with along the way? You mentioned a few there.
Ended up working with Rob Sanzo, a great producer, and Daryl Jennifer from Bad Brains was producing, and that was a Bedouin Sound Clash record I got called in to work on.
Oh, very
Good
cool.
one. And at my studio, I did the Fucked Up record. That's the band, Fucked Up. And
I love that. It's like, okay, we have everyone's attention now. It's like, okay, there we go. Everyone's attention.
and they're great. Yeah, they're a great band from
Yeah.
Toronto. Big record. They won the Polaris Prize and stuff. I engineered on that. And yeah, there's so many. I can't actually looking back.
Well, I think when I was looking, I know you've worked with Ivana Santilli. I saw that. You
Oh
worked
yeah.
with her a little bit. Yeah. I was a big fan of her. I loved her with the whole trumpet and stuff. Yeah. I looked through it quickly, but I know I do see there's a lot of people that you have worked with. That's very, very cool.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite concert that you've worked on? Like, I know you do sound and engineering as well for shows, right?
Yeah. No, I did. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, is there a concert that was your favorite out of all of them, or it stands out?
I don't know. There's so many. Hard to say.
Yeah. I mean, I know there is a lot, right? So it's kind of hard to choose, but well, okay. Do you like a particular style of music? Do you like to work with a particular style of music more than other styles, would you say?
Yeah. I guess my favorite would be like blues rock type of music. I'm a rocker at heart, I guess, more so. It's funny though. I ended up, after I did the Chaos records, I ended up doing so many like hip hop records and young, artists from around Toronto, and it was kind of like, what am I doing? I was like, here I am, right? It's like so unexpected, but I'm no complaints.
Well, that's cool. I mean, that obviously shows that you have expertise in what you're doing, because you can work in any style of music, which is amazing. And I can just imagine everybody would want to work with you after hearing that Chaos, that song. Like, that was just epic.
Yeah.
It stands out for me, even that song, so that's really, really cool. Okay, that's cool. Yeah.
Hard to.
I know that you do venues outside and indoors, right?
Yeah.
Do you have a preference between the two? Like, which do you like one better than the other?
I guess outside is on good days it's easier actually, because there's no walls for the sound to reflect around, the feedback situation, and you're not at the mercy of the room. It's like probably my favorite is like festivals, and the lights go down, and you get the goosebumps, and it's game day. It's like you got one shot, right?
Yeah.
And over and over and over. It was kind of why I had a little burnout on studio work. You're listening to the same song all day. and it can be a little grinding after a while. And then when I started doing live sound, I was like, oh, this is amazing, man. It's like right now, this is the moment, like, you know.
Yeah, it's like you got one shot and you do it and that's it and it's
Yeah.
over. On to the next, right? Yeah. Yeah.
1,000 people, or it could even just be 75 people. You don't know, but there's people in the room, right?
Yes, absolutely. And it's like a live energy. Like it's like you get that live feel it for sure, which is cool. I know I get the same thing because I record in the studio as well. I'm a singer. I'm not doing the engineering, but
Yeah.
you do have to do it over and over and over again. And, you know, it kind of takes away that in the moment feel when you're in there doing, you know, perfecting
I
and
know.
all that stuff.
Like, oh, my first take, second take, that's usually the best, man. And then you're just like, I don't know.
Yeah, and then it just kind of like starts to lose the energy because you're just like, I already did this like 5 times, you know.
You have
So I totally get you on that. Yeah, that's cool. I can see how that would be something that you like better.
yeah,
That makes a lot of sense.
kind of the challenge in the studio, because you got to be able to read people and go like, well, I can push this guy, or I can push this lady, or you know what I mean? Like I can push them to work harder, or like maybe I should just lay off right now because that's the best we're gonna get.
Yeah.
So you got to be
Well,
sometimes, right?
yeah. What's with me is I'm like push me harder, push me harder, push me harder. Like and if I don't get pushed harder, I get upset. Like I get
Like people say to me is like, man, you kind of really upset me, and they're like, you were pushing me, but like this sounds really good now, right? And I'm like, yeah, it's just, trying to get the best out of you.
absolutely, like you need that. If I'm working with a producer and they're not pushing me, then that's a really bad sign for me. It's like this is not going to come out good.
Yeah.
So it's always good to have somebody kind of like, you know, holding you accountable and going, okay, you can do better than that. Come on, like give it your all here.
Well, that's
Yeah,
what we're doing, right?
yeah, for sure. So I totally get that. Totally get that. Um, so I guess you said that you like to do the outside shows, but do you like doing concerts more than you like studio time, or is it just sort of?
Well, I think the studio thing kind of like, um, if with the, like everybody got a laptop and Pro Tools and Logic, and everybody's an engineer and everybody's a producer, and I just found it was a little like, I ended up being like, you're doing a session, it was just like, hey, what did you do there? What did you do there? What did you do there? I'm like, this is not school. This is a session, right?
Right, right, right.
And I like changed the whole thing of being, I don't know. I kind of like the live, yeah. I mean, I don't do a lot of records anymore, but I love mixing records when I do it and making music. But I just
Absolutely.
found everybody's doing their own thing now, and you ended up mixing whatever they did at home. And a lot of times people are not good engineers, and they're, obviously if you don't use great equipment, you don't get great sounds. You get a sound, you get the sound, but it's not like magical. Or I always consider myself more of an engineer than a producer, because I like carving the sounds, getting a good drum sound and capturing it and that type of thing.
Absolutely. And that's important if you want to have a quality recording. I mean, it
Yeah.
definitely is.
Which a lot of people don't realize, I don't think, at the beginning.
Yeah. Like if you don't have that, then it's kind of like,
Yeah.
how far can it go from there? You know? Yeah.
Well, we used to call them demos, right?
True. True. That's why they're called demos.
Yeah. That's why they were demos.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah. So you said that you had formal training, so that's really cool. I assumed so much. Do you work on any of your own music?
I do, but I've never released anything.
Yeah, I was gonna say because you have so much expertise. I'm assuming, right? That you.
Like everybody's like, man, you should put that out. And then I was like, yeah, yeah. And then I'm like ending up like doing a show, doing something else somewhere, and then I'm like, oh, I'm too tired today, like to even like think about listening to music. My ears, I need a rest, and I don't want to make excuses, but
Yeah, I mean that's probably a lot. Like for you to put, I mean, it's probably like a good thing for you to be making your own music and everything. But then like you probably got so many other projects that you're working on. For you to actually sit down and do the technical part of your own stuff must be difficult because you're just doing all this stuff, right? Yeah, yeah.
talent instead of like, it's hard to actually go from in the creative side to like the technical side of your brain.
Yeah.
You either got to be in one or the other. You either got to be in creative mode or you got to be in technical mode. And there's both opposite sides of the brain.
Very true. And if you're doing both, that's a lot to juggle, I would think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you got a song idea, you're working on it, and then you got to go over and like, okay, I got to do the input and then set up the might move the microphone. And then I'm like, I'm kind of out of it right now.
Yeah. And then it's kind of like takes you out of that side, right? You're like, now you're into technical, and like the creative part is just over here.
And there's lots of articles on that too. If people want to go read it, I'm not sure exactly, but you look it up, right? It's like I've read a bunch on it. I'm like, that's totally true.
I agree. I find that like, well, when I'm in the studio, I've picked up things along the way technically. And I mean, if you gave me a song, I could edit it, I could trim it and stuff. But the thing is, I don't want to do all of it. I know how to do a lot of it, but I don't want to do all of it, because then I find that I'm not focusing on the creative anymore, and I'm going to the technical, and it's like too much. It's too much.
You just want to
Yeah. But like, I know like the zero crossings and so, cut it here and cut it there, and, that kind of stuff.
which
But
is
yeah. Pardon?
I said you need to know that stuff really if you're going to be an artist and record. And
You do. Yeah, it's important. I like to know what's going on, but then there's a certain point where like if they're adjusting the mics and doing all that stuff, I kind of just zone out and just don't pay attention, because I'm just like, I don't need to know that.
Special today and be the artist, right?
Yeah, I know. Right. Yeah, exactly. So, I just try to sort of, pay attention to some of the things and get the creative part across, but not too much on the technical, right?
Exactly.
But it's good to know a little. It's good to know what's happening.
Definitely. Yeah.
Okay, so you said you didn't release any of your own music then. So
No, I should though. I need to do that as a goal in life. It's on the bucket list.
yeah, okay. Well, there you go. Hey, you know what? Maybe I can help you somehow get it out there. I don't know. Maybe you can always come to me. Can you help with that? It's all good. Yeah. So what style would you say the stuff that you do of your own personal stuff is?
It would be based like on because I always loved the blues and rock guitar. So it would be like it's somewhere in there, like a mixture of that type of blues rock.
Very cool. Very cool. I'd be interested in hearing it. Maybe you can let me have a listen to it. That'd be really cool.
For sure.
So this is an interesting question. Do you think that age plays any factor in doing your job, or do you think that matters at all?
I don't
think
it does at this point in life. I mean, the Rolling Stones have like paved the way for everybody, right?
Gotta love that.
You know what I mean? Like they're all like, they gotta be 80-ish, right?
Something like that. Yeah. Yeah.
At concerts, and that was never ever done before.
Yeah. Right. I think they're doing, I don't think age really matters.
As far as live sound, I don't know how many years I got left at it. Like I am 53, and I don't know. I kind of want to be able to hear when I'm retired, sitting by a campfire.
Yeah. Well, you still got a lot of years, and I've had people tell me that, you can't do this because you're this age, and I'm just like, that is just a bunch of BS,
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, is there a lot of physical things that you have to do? I mean, just like moving around and getting the sound all together and everything, probably, right? A little bit.
Yeah. Age plays a factor in that.
Yeah. In that side, probably. Yeah.
Maybe you're more relaxed as you get older, but the technology is changing so much. Like I just find myself like I'm on a plane or I'm driving somewhere and I got the PDF out and I'm like learning a new digital console because I've never used it before. And I just want to know the basics, like to get me through the gig. And so that's always a challenge nowadays.
Yeah, I could see how that would be, but I guess that's a good thing about technology is that you have access to that stuff, right? And you can
it's a good thing. I've had a lot of friends who kind of like got out of it. Like they're like, oh, I don't want to learn that new digital console stuff and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, you're going to get left behind.
Yeah.
You gotta embrace it. Don't be like scared of it.
Yeah, because they do like, what's the word I'm trying to say? Digital analog is very popular. And you can take analog and you can do digital, after. I've seen that done quite a lot.
Yeah, well, just look what you can do on your laptop now at home.
Yeah, there's so much you can do.
Make a record, like the technology is there.
Absolutely. And so that's one plus, I guess, right?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So I heard that you are going on tour soon with Danko Jones, right?
Yeah. May 17th, I'm flying over. We're doing 17 shows all throughout Europe. I'm just kind of excited and stoked for that.
Very cool. Europe tour. That sounds really fun. Have you gone to Europe before?
I have not.
Oh, okay.
This is my run with them. I've done like a lot of US and Canada shows with them over the last 5 years.
Yeah.
And they got their guy in Europe who they use over there, but he's not available. So I find that I'm like, all right, get my shot.
There you go.
Right?
Are you going to be in Paris at all? If you
Yeah.
are, I'm jealous because I've always wanted to go and I've never gone.
Yeah,
So.
there's Paris and Lyon.
Ah, Paris.
Yeah.
That sounds fun. You'll have to tell me how it goes. Maybe I'll have you on the show after and you can tell me
Yeah.
how the tour goes. I'd love
For
to
sure.
hear about that.
Yeah.
And I love talking about music stuff, both engineering and creatively. It's always great to talk to people about it and get more information and just keep
Yeah.
learning, right?
Yeah, for sure.
You've done a lot of great things, so that's amazing.
It's funny because I don't look back. I always just forge ahead, and I never really look back at what I've done. But then sometimes you're like, wow, that's a lot of work, man, over the years. That's a pretty good track record. I think I need a website.
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. Well, if you need a website, I can help you with that too. If you need me. I love doing all that stuff. But yeah, I would say when I checked out all the stuff that you've done, I'm like, these are some great people that you've worked with. Like, I had no idea. It was great. Really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, where would you say your favorite place has been to go on tour? Like you said, this is your first time in Europe. Where would you say your
My
favorite?
of all the U.S., California was amazing. I loved California. I didn't want to come back.
I believe you. I've never been to California, but I feel like if I did go to California, I wouldn't want to come back either. So yeah.
I was like,
so do you remember like what the show was that took you there?
what's that?
Do you remember what show it was that you were on tour for?
Don't.
Oh, it's Danko. Oh, okay. Yeah. Nice.
And we did Arizona, Nevada, right from San Diego, right on up through the Whiskey a Go-Go in LA, and went to San Francisco, and then we went all the way up to Seattle, Portland. Yeah, it was great.
That sounds like so much fun. I'd love to tour out there.
Yeah.
I've toured around Canada, but I haven't done really much in the States. I've done a few things, but not full on. Which I think
after the tour, I didn't fly back. I stayed and spent another week in California, just drove around in Joshua Tree, and I was a tourist. It was amazing.
Oh, you did the Joshua Tree. That's awesome. You got to do that. I mean,
then went back to San Diego for a couple nights, and drove up the Pacific Coast Highway with the Beach Boys playing.
That's a perfect scene right there. That's perfect. Oh, California. I know. I got to make my way out there eventually too with my music. I think that'd be great.
Yeah.
That's cool. So you were with Danko, so that's cool. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? I know this is an interesting question to ask. I don't really know how I would answer that, but what do you envision for yourself?
By Lake Simcoe somewhere.
Yeah. Cool.
I don't know, honestly. I mean, I could have told you that a while ago because I always kind of made like little 5-year plans. Like, okay, I'm going to open a studio and I'm going to give it 5 years.
Right.
Yeah, or 5 years. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But now I'm not quite sure. Well, the future's wide open.
Yeah. Well, that's always a good thing, right?
Yeah.
The future being wide open.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I'm not sure.
You think maybe you'll go back to Cali?
I know, right? I've thought about going to like Nashville or somewhere like that. There's a lot of tours leave out of Nashville and stuff. It's kind of like the center even for rock and roll and stuff. There's a lot of techs and.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, you've done a lot of great things. I think I could see us working together down the road somehow.
Oh yeah. I'd love
to. You know what's good is that like somebody doing your sound is so important, especially when you're going on tour. Like you have to have the best. Yeah. So your job is so important. Like there's a lot of people I wouldn't trust doing that. Like I've done some shows and I was not happy with the sound person. So I could just imagine, you have a lot of people that have worked with you. And so you're very talented at what you do.
And people are like always like, why are sound guys so like edgy and blah blah blah? And it's like but at the defense of like audio engineers and sound techs, it's like you got like 3 bands on a night if you're a house tech. And there's 15 artists there, like and total like 5 in each band. I'm like, that's 15 egos on one guy, right?
Oh yeah, that's a lot to have on your shoulders.
Like
it is
20.
It's like playing the goalie in a soccer game, but it's like times that by 10, It's like you have all this pressure on you, right? So
and it's hard to be game day every day.
Yeah.
But it's not after this 2 year break though. I find like I'm just trying to be like super positive when I go out now, and you know, and I am older, and I'm up against like the younger face to come take your place. That type of thing. It's like
Oh,
right. So
no, nobody can take your place. You're really good at what you do. I just know this.
yeah,
But yeah, I mean, when I go on tour eventually, like you're definitely on my list of top people because I've heard great things about you. So that's fairly cool. So in terms of social media, where can we find you? Can you tell our viewers where we can find you on social media?
I'm only really using Instagram right now, so it'll be Lorne Houndsell at Instagram, LorneHounsell. Yeah,
Cool, cool. And if you weren't able to get Lorne on his Instagram, you could always hit me up and I could connect you if you needed to get connected with him that way. Um, so I really appreciate you coming on the show today. I've heard so many great things about you. I can't wait to
I
hear
like
what happens with the Danko Jones tour
yeah,
and just
post it.
everything that happens there. I'd love to have you on again after the tour so you can tell
Yeah,
me how it went.
yeah.
And I think you and I will definitely connect on a musical engineering level down the road as well. And so I just want to say thank you so much again for coming on the show.
Oh, thank you.
And everyone, you're watching Talk with SHONNA right here on the Fired Up Network, Female Empowerment Movement. And always remember this, let the music live through you.
Exactly.
So thanks again, Lorne, for coming
Thank
on the show. And
you.
I can't wait to see what happens with the Danko Jones tour.
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.
I'm gonna tell